years ago, my son phoned me. He was living in Toronto at the time, and he phoned me and he said, "Mom, I'm giving a speech next Monday. You can, show up into Toronto and just listen to my speech." And he didn't have any other information for me, and I thought, traveling into Toronto, trying to find this parking, trying to find a little pub like this, and I thought, I don't know. So I wouldn't give him a definite answer, but I showed up anyway. I didn't want him to edit himself because Mom is in the room. So I just showed up. But I loved what I saw. MoMondays in every location is just like this. People hooting and hollering and getting to know each other and networking, and you're supposed to mingle and go to somebody else's table and introduce yourself. It's a fun night. And I was floored. I thought, this is great. And then I heard the speakers, and everyone had a wonderful message, including my son. But one fellow really struck me with his message, and he challenged everybody in the room to think of something that is so important to you that you would be willing to give up your life for it. And I thought, how profound is that? But even, profound, even with the messages, the room was so energetic, I said, I've got to be part of this. And I phoned our founder the very next day and said, how do I bring this to Niagara Falls? Because Niagara Falls needs this. And so I did, and it was a wonderful, I did it for a year, and I met wonderful people with wonderful messages, and MoMondays just is snowballing into what the other cities are doing. So I'm very grateful to have MoMondays in my life and to see how it's progressing. But so for tonight, my message would be a little bit on perspective. I don't know how many people in the room know that in the early 50s, there was a polio epidemic across Canada. All the hospitals in Toronto were filled. They had army tents on the front lawn with army cots. Everything was filled with polio people. And I was just a baby. We were living in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, and my mom took me into the hospital, and she was told that I have polio, and I was polio victim number 56 for that week, and it was a Thursday. So it was just rampant. And so she had to get me admitted, and in those days, parents could only visit their children Sunday afternoon from 2 to 4. That was it. You didn't see your kid, the kids didn't see their parents all week. And so I was there for quite a while. Then my dad got a job in the Sudbury mines, and we had to move to Sudbury. And my mother comes to the hospital and says, well, my family is moving to Sudbury, I need my kid. And they said, well, you're not going to have her. And my mom said, what do you mean I can't have her? And they said, well, she's paralyzed from the waist down. How are you going to take care of her? And so my mom said, no, I'm taking my kid. So she promised the staff there that when she got to Sudbury, she would admit me into the Sudbury hospital. And that's how they agreed to let me go. But once she got to Sudbury, no. She thought, I can take care of Karen just fine. I don't need to take her to the hospital, so she didn't. And she knew I needed to do some kind of physiotherapy. So her idea was that we would go for a walk every day. And so I had braces on both legs that had an extension up to my waist with a great big leather belt and crutches. And because I was so young, my crutches were 18 inches high. So we would go for a walk every day. And sometimes I would fall and, pick myself up and go. So this day, I didn't fall, And my mom says, do you want me to help? And I said, no, I do it myself. So she had to stand there and watch me get my legs under me and get my crutches under me, and she just waited until I was ready to go again. When that was happening, there was a neighbor looking out of her front window, and she saw me fall, and she saw my mother standing there doing nothing about it, and thinking, what kind of a mother is this? She's not even helping her poor little child, and she's just standing there. And she was all huffy and all insulted and everything. And that's my little story on perspective, because yes, I fell, but I wanted to do it myself. I wanted to, pick myself up and do it myself. Most little 3-year-olds say I do it myself anyway. But, and so my mother, she had to learn the perspective of, yes, my daughter fell, but she has to learn how to take care of herself, and she has to learn how to be strong. So I knew it would have been easier for her to just, pick me up and send me on my way, but no, she stood back and let me figure it out on my own. And then on the other hand, there's this lady who sees a child that needs help and the mother that's not helping. So it's all 3 different perspectives on the same happening, and who's right? If there was a police report and they said, okay, what happened? There would be 3 different stories there. But that's a life lesson that I've had to learn, and I think we all have to learn that, well, we've always been told there's always 2 sides to a coin, and sometimes there's a third. But learning perspective and how to apply it in your life is a life learning lesson. So, and it comes at you at the strangest times, and I think one of the reasons why it sometimes gets past us is because we are so used to being reactive. When something happens, you just feel like you have to react. And at one point, my friend was all upset over something that had happened to her. She said it was a very bad event, but in the long run, it worked out. And I said to her, okay, well, let's think on this. If the bad part hadn't have happened first, you wouldn't have gotten that gift of the good event at the end. So are you willing to give up the good part so that the bad doesn't happen? And she said no. So that was good. So it's perspective. And for one of my MoMondays nights, I actually thought, well, what am I going to wear? And I actually went out and bought this set. And everything was fine. And during the evening, I was looking at people, and some people had glitter on them. And I thought, oh my goodness, I'm getting glitter on people. And then I was looking around, and people I hadn't even had a chance to talk to ended up with glitter on their faces. And I'm going, I didn't even touch them, and they got glitter on them. And I went, oh my, this is crazy. And so on the way home, I stopped at A&W because I was hungry and it was late. And I put in my order, went to the washroom, and as I'm walking out of the stall, I literally have a puddle of glitter all on the floor. And I'm thinking the staff is they're gonna be ticked. They gotta try and sweep this stuff up. And glitter sticks around forever. And then when I was at the counter paying for my meal, I literally had a semicircle of glitter on the counter. And I'm thinking, I gotta get out of here before they realize who's making such a big mess. And then I thought, oh, this is crazy. This glitter it was on my couch, it was in my bed, it was everything. And for weeks, because it was all on the carpet of my car, I was walking this glitter everywhere I went, and I thought, so many people are gonna be fed up and say, what's this? And then I thought, no, Karen, shake your head. And I thought, no, that was Monday night. We had a great evening, and I spread glitter everywhere, and hooray for us. So tonight, if I gave him